Welcome to Tarot by Brev. What we have today, very interesting, not just a brand new tarot deck for me to unbox, but a new deck that's only just been released. So at the time of recording, we're in the end of November 2022, and this is the Phantomwise Tarot by Erin Morgenstern, who is the author of the book The Night Circus. And this is for fans of her work, this is a deck of tarot which was developed during her time of writing the book and has been promised to be released for quite some time. So I know there is a fair amount of anticipation around about the release of this particular deck. So we will open it up and we'll have a little look in this very exciting black and white deck. So welcome to the nocturnal fantasia where nothing is as it seems. The images in this black and white dreamscape exist now and then and out of time completely, somewhere between asleep and awake. The hand-painted characters and creatures who inhabit this circusy wonderland serve as symbols illustrating moments and mysterious encounters on life's journey. The enclosed guidebook will light your way, but you must trust your intuition as you travel the path of the Phantomwise Tarot. Exciting stuff. So this is the box. Good sturdy, thick cardboard box. Nice illustration. Kind of smooth, glossy. Pretty chunky. No plastic wrapping. So it just comes as it is, like that. There's this little tab there, which is the only thing kind of keeping it sealed shut. So let's get into it. As normal, we'll try and do it without causing too much damage. So what I think I'm going to do is cut that. Oh no, it will peel. That's useful. So it will peel and it'll come off without damaging the box. That's always nice. There we go. No damage done. Ooh, and it's like opens like a book. And we have this nice sort of red inlay along with the black and whites. Let's have a look here. So we've got the guidebook, a bit of protection leaf, and then we have the deck itself, which we will just for the moment put to one side. And as always, we will start with the handbook. So, not overly thick, kind of like that, reasonable size. 78 card deck. Phantomwise Tarot. Suggestions for how to read the cards. The Dream Child spread. Maybe we'll have a go at that in a further video. And a celestial navigation spread. They sound like exciting things to play around with. Down the rabbit hole spread. So yeah, look forward to doing some future videos where we will explore each of those suggested spreads. And then we have the book, a little note from the author, and then we have the major arcana, and there's a little bit of a description, followed by the individual suits. And this deck is based very much on the traditional Waite Tarot, Waite Smith, and so following that tradition, I believe the suits are as they are normally, but we'll get into the cards and have a little look. So just the little plastic sheathing on these. So no individual plastic wrap, which means the cards aren't likely to be too sticky. The little binding, I do like to keep those because they keep everything nice and neat in the box when you put things away. There's the backing. Obviously mirrors this symbolism from the box and the book. And the cards themselves are a little bit, you can hear that, they've got a bit of texture to them. They're not the smooth, shiny ones. They're a little bit of something to them. The actual card stock itself, pretty thick. Good size. Yeah, King of Pentacles. We'll get to him in a minute, I'm sure. Let's start over and begin where most decks begin, with the Fool. Just to give an idea of the size of these cards. So we have 7 centimeters. We'll go that way by 12. So in terms of a comparison to a standard card, you have a Joker, it's so they're a lot bigger than a standard playing card. Not quite twice the size as some tarots are, but almost there. And again, as you can see now, we've got this kind of finish to the cards. Obviously the imagery is all in black and white, but they're not glossy as such, but there's a little bit of texture to them, so you can kind of feel them, which means they're going to be quite easy to grip and hold of them. Hopefully they'll shuffle fairly well. That's a pretty good card stock all round. But let's have a quick flip through, and we'll give some first impressions. So the major arcana, starting with the Fool, the Magician, High Priestess, the Empress, the Emperor, and these will all be instantly recognisable imagery and symbolism for those who are familiar with the kind of standardised tarot decks that have been around for a long time, which also makes it easier as a beginner to learn, because there's so much written online around that particular deck. It's not a deck that's got lots of changes and deviances within it, so you can apply the knowledge that you already have and all that other knowledge that's already readily available. So we have the Hierophant, the Lovers, the Chariot, an Air Balloon. These all have a very circusy feel, obviously taken from her book, and it's kind of nice, kind of almost muted kind of pictures, but still very rich with symbolism, giving you a real sense of things that you can intuit, but maybe bringing them up into a more modern setting. The Hermit, still keeping the lantern, but he's more of a sort of a Buddhist monk on a bit of a retreat. The Wheel of Fortune, that's very sexy, kind of almost hypnotic spiral. Justice, the Hanged Man with his top hat. Death, the Scythe. Temperance, again this nod to the kind of circusy feel here, almost like the tent top. The Devil, leading to distraction and temptation there. The Tower, again you recognise the twist on the classical imagery. There's the Star, the Moon, little sleeping cat in the tree there. The Sun, Judgment, a bit of a nod here to the old Egyptian style decks that were very popular at some point. And the World, again this is almost kind of Alice in Wonderland type, down the rabbit hole type theme. And then we're on to the minors, the minor arcana. So I'll just put those to one side for a second. And so we have the Ace of Wands, and again instantly recognisable suits. So I think we've gone Wands, Cups, just checking Swords and Pentacles. So yeah, a very traditional laid out deck. So we've got the Ace of Wands, Two of Wands, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of Wands, 8 of Wands, 9, 10. I'm sure you'll recognise, if you're familiar with the tarot deck, a lot of the symbolism and imagery on those. So you've taken a lot of influence from the original cards, well not the original cards, but the cards that were drawn by Smith at the guidance of Arthur Waite back in the day. And here we have the Page of Wands, and we're stuck with the traditional Page, Knight, Queen and King, I'm going to assume. Queen and King, there we go, there's the Wands. I don't know if you can hear these cards on the side, so a little bit of roughness to them, which means they're quite easy to grip. They're not sliding around all over the place like some decks. And here we have the Suit of Cups. These are all relevant to your emotions. So how do you feel about these? There's the Ace of Cups, the 2, 3, the 4, and classic imagery on that one, 5, 6, 7. What's she thinking about? The 8, addition to the stairway, 9, 10, and then we have the Page of Cups, the Knight of Cups, riding a rabbit, why not? The Queen and the King, dressed up in his tux there. Then we have the swords, suit of swords, Ace of Swords, 2 of Swords, 3 of Swords. Again, very recognisable themes and imageries. But it's kind of not a completely black and white on these. I know it's kind of grey, and the texture's a little kind of hint of colours. It's very cleverly done. Yeah. There's the 4 of Swords, the 5, 6, 7, the 8. Again, you recognise a lot of this imagery of the blindfold being surrounded from the traditional decks. Again with the 9 and the 10. Page, bringing you a new sword. The Knight, riding a griffin. Queen and the King. It's a very attractive suit of cards. Then we go to finally to the Pentacles. So we've got the Ace, the 2, poodle balancing, there we go. 3, the 4, 5 of Pentacles. Again, a lot of you will recognise the imagery and the symbolism within these, the inspiration behind them, but with a bit of a modern personal twist. 6 of Pentacles, 7, the 8, the 9, and the 10 of Pentacles. Then we have the Page, the Knight, riding a wolf, Queen, and finally the King of Pentacles. So attractive looking cards with some very familiar symbolism on them, in a very familiar structure. So they should be fairly easy for people to pick up. For those who have experience with the tarot, or indeed are a beginner to the tarot, it should be fairly easy to pick up and begin to read. Let's have a look at some of the descriptions now of the cards. So if we go to 3 of Swords, 3 of Swords, multiple swords run through a large heart, the heart pierced and broken where soft meets sharp with painful consequences. A time for understanding pain, a need to cut to the heart of the matter. Sorrow and trauma, mental turmoil, that time and care will mend. So not masses and masses of information, but a good way just to kind of direct your attention to some of the key themes and to give you some basic kind of understanding. So as I said, it follows the very traditional tarot decks, of which so much is written online. So it'll be very easy to take the knowledge that you already have and apply it straight away to these cards. Let's try another one. What's everyone's favourite? Let's go to find the mages here. The Tower. It's a card everybody kind of likes. A sudden bolt of lightning strikes a tall clock tower, unexpected and violent, destroying its gears and interrupting its steady keeping of time. explaining the imagery that you've got there. This is a catalyst, a sudden, tumultuous interruption, a time of unforeseen events and sudden revelations. So yeah, following very much the traditional meanings. It's got basic instructions, or like I said, some key themes for each card. So let's see how they shuffle and see how they feel as a spread. They're quite thick. That's one of the things. So with a deck in your hand, that's a good chunky sized feel. It's kind of, some of the thinner cards obviously would be feel a bit more like that, but this is a good solid deck. So they shuffle fairly well. I like that they're not even slightly sticky. So some of those plastic coated cards can be really a bit sticky and a bit tacky when they first come out of the box. This is very much not so. They're kind of sliding quite easily, even though they've got that, like I say, that textured grip on them. Give them a bit of a slide, and then we can drag them out. How well do they? I know a lot of people like to draw cards like that. So yeah, they kind of slide okay. Not the easiest, maybe a little bit stiff to get out on a nice even spread. We're just going to cut and deal. There we go. That's what they would look like. So some pretty clear imagery, not too shiny. So it's quite good if you are doing readings online or taking pictures of them for people, sending out readings, as I know a lot of people do. Then the imagery probably photos very well. It's quite clear. What I really like is just the simplicity of the images. They're not overloaded with unnecessary symbolism. They're keeping kind of true to the traditions within tarot, following the standardized sets and formats with some instantly recognizable symbolism and imagery, which makes it a very accessible deck for people. I think it's going to be a good introductory deck for people who are new. If the success of this is to bring some new people across from enjoying her book into appreciating tarot, then that's a win. If it's going to bring people from tarot into enjoying her artwork and her book, then that's also a win. I think this is a attractive looking, very functional deck with a good solid cardstock. And I will look forward to delving into the book and to having a go at some of these suggested spreads. Down the Rabbit Hole, Celestial Navigation, and the Dream Child spread. So that is the Phantomwise Tarot, unboxed and ready to go. Thank you for taking the time to watch. Really appreciate you for viewing. If you have any questions, pop them in the chat below. Please like and subscribe, and I will be doing more unboxing and more sample reads in the future. Thanks very much.